Hi and hello and welcome to episode 28 of Going Over. I, of course, am Fred Slow alongside me, Saleh Taylor. Saleh, good morning. Welcome to the show, brother.
Good mornings, hellos. How you doing? How you feeling today?
I'll tell you what, I'm so fortunate to never ever complain. Like, it's the wildest thing in the whole world. I don't know how I got to this spot. I definitely don't deserve it, but I am a little tired, my man. I spent all weekend in Philadelphia enjoying SmackDown, 2 nights of WrestleMania. Did have to come back before Monday Night Raw, but it was a bangers of a weekend, including what I believe to be the best Hall of Fame speech I have ever seen.
You had a very, very active weekend, and we're going to touch into that pretty soon. But yeah, I do want to start with the Hall of Fame speech because I know I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Thunder Patterson. Yeah, I know
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Dude, you're in gimmick right now. I see what you're doing. See what you're doing. No, it was an incredible weekend, man. The thing that's so uniquely fortunate about my profession, not owning Duke City Championship Wrestling, but well, hold on, that's fun and special in its own way. 1 year anniversary show coming up in May. Our April 24th show at the historic El Rey Theater is going to be an absolute banger. We look to more than likely set an attendance record, which will be a lot of fun.
Ooh.
But definitely the May one will be a big deal. But with that said, yeah, my radio job allows me to, travel the country and be a big part of pro wrestling, at the biggest times. And this past week, SmackDown, both nights of WrestleMania and then Monday Night Raw, as good of a 4 night run as you will see in the world of professional wrestling, I think anywhere, anytime.
So I got to put you over a little bit, man, because
Yeah,
you've been putting in the work so many years, like in media in the industry,
sure. Yeah, a long
and
time.
you built a network, and you made yourself actually quite an asset to a thing to now where you are invited, and in fact you're not just invited, man. You're kind of expected to make it
Yeah,
things. So tell
it's
me
a neat
about that.
yeah, it's a neat thing, and WrestleMania is the biggest one. So it's got the most media outlets that come from all over the world. I think Stephanie McMahon said it at WrestleMania, or she may have said it on the broadcast. I guess I don't really know because I didn't watch the broadcast. So I've heard the accolades of CM Punk. I've heard the accolades of Michael Cole kind of having his own sounding voice, I guess, for the first time in a long time. I've heard all those things. I didn't witness it. I was physically there at WrestleMania, but there's only a handful of us that go to all of them. And you went with me to Survivor Series, which was a lot of fun last year. That was the debut, excuse me, the return to CM Punk, which was really, really great. But this was neat because you get all over the world journalists, all over the world pro wrestling enthusiasts, and you're exposed to a lot of people you wouldn't necessarily always be, and that's fun, because Philadelphia takes advantage of. There was other shows going on in the area. I didn't go to any. I know that sounds like I'm in Rome. I should do as the Romans do. But also, I wanted to see the Liberty Bell, and I wanted to go to the art museum, and I wanted because
Oh,
I'm that guy too, right? But yeah, it was real neat. It was real special. I do believe SummerSlam will be very good too. So Cleveland, here we come. That'll be a fun time. But yeah, banger of a event, banger of an evening, and the people that I do spend the most time with professionally, they all love it more than me, which is like kind
okay.
of nauseating. It's like because I consider myself a pretty avid pro wrestling fan. We host the show, we own a promotion. We're that thing, but there's an obsession level to this stuff, my man. There's an obsession level in the media as it relates to pro wrestling that I can't emulate.
Yeah, it seems to be a little bit of gatekeeping. Let's be honest
Oh
about
my
this.
gosh, it's wild, dude.
Like you have been watching every single promotion, every single indie promotion that you haven't been watching. Therefore, you can't call yourself a fan. I was like, yo, man, like it's okay. Hey, it's okay. It's all right. Um, like I wanted to touch on this with you. The whole like you're kind of expected to show up. You
Sure.
kind of expect, you're becoming a bit of a thing, but now you have those who are utilizing social media to make their place at the table, I guess. But you're half old media, you're half new media,
Yeah.
um, and all these other cats coming in, man. Like they
Yeah,
have,
the balance is different. You're right. Yeah,
yeah,
because with podcasts or vodcast or shorts or all the different ways that people consume, it's you produce your content differently. You produce your pro wrestling coverage differently. And I'll just give you an example. I'm not going to name any names.
Yeah.
These are people that if you follow pro wrestling, you are familiar with their content. So I'm going to say this guy came up to me. God, I feel bad. I want to use name. I'm not. It's not that show. We're not that show.
Yeah.
So a reporter comes up and he's like, "Hey, I know for a fact Stone Cold Steve Austin's coming back. I know that for a fact." Yeah, brother.
Trying to feed the dirt sheet.
Yeah, how do you know that? Oh, he's I heard from the back. Well, you didn't hear from the back because we're all here. Like we would have all heard from the back. And then you end up with a little bit of insider information. We use like Jacob Fatu as an example, right? Like
Yeah.
You're Jacob Fatu. The big announcement over the weekend over the weekend of WrestleMania was Jacob Fatu signing with WWE. So all these guys are like, "Hey, I got the I got the inside scoop, and I know, I know all about it, and I'm like, well, I could just text him."
Yeah.
Like, it's like, are you like, what's the point of telling like a lie? And they're like, well, I know for a fact he's debuting tonight at WrestleMania. I go, Jacob is debuting tonight at WrestleMania. Like, that on good authority. Like, and that's the thing about wrestling media where they don't even necessarily care if it's accurate. They just care that people are listening, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of gross. And
yeah,
Go
trying to
ahead,
get the clicks, trying to get the clicks and all that stuff.
But to me, like, where are you cutting a promo on me? Like, I'm in the media. Like, I don't care. Like you, and it's not. I don't care that you would be excited about that. Like, if you're trying to communicate, I'm excited about that. Like, okay, I'm in. But if a pro wrestling reporter, and I'll be this guy right now, like I'll do a I'll shoot on reporters, blah blah blah. If you listen to 10 out of 10 weird YouTube or like strictly quote unquote breaking news social media pro wrestling, you're listening to the exact same story 10 times over. Like there's no new reporting, there's nothing clever about it, and it's nauseating. You know what I mean? It's like, in my opinion, just regurgitation from this very small circle. And it blows my mind, dude. And it's changed the way it's covered. I'm traditional media. Like I'm old school terrestrial radio, and we're fortunate to have incorporated all these digital platforms. There ain't a lot else other of us there. Like you might get. I think there's a cat who comes up from Detroit that I really like. He shows up. He's very good. The list is short after that, because it's all, WrestleSpeak.com, WrestleTalk.com, WrestleChat.com, WrestleTirade.com, Wrestle, and it's cool. Like, if you have your audience, and cool that WWE incorporates you, you're not necessarily governed the same way that like I am. It's not. I'm not going to go and say, hey, I know for a fact that because Triple H tweeted at 3:16 in the afternoon, Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be this, because that's just lies. But if you want to present it like that, if you want to be like, hey, aren't these all cool coincidences? Wouldn't it be neat? Do that. Like, say it that way. But
one of the coolest things that I remember was, like, this exemplifies what you're talking about. We, right after Survivor Series, right after the 1, 2, 3, our press contact is like, everyone, let's go. We got to beat the crowd. Take us to the press room.
Yeah.
We get there, and no one knew that CM Punk was making a return.
0 people, including us.
No one knew, including us.
Yeah.
But like, as we're in there, there's a monitor that we're all sharing, and there's a gentleman that was sitting right next to the monitor, and he's flipping out, and the word spreading. Everyone's what? Like, everyone's reacted the same way, and so like just almost everyone's going live and talking about, you heard it here first. It's like, bro, everyone's watching it. Everyone saw it. We're all seeing the same thing. It's okay. How about, like, this is a cooler thing. But one of your friends, he had the best take of that night when he was talking about CM Punk's return was such a tight lid that even their communication director didn't know. Because
Yeah.
we were, how did I know? We were all in the room together in the dark.
Well, we're talking to the media relations guy back at the house, and this is going back to Survivor Series, not WrestleMania. And I think my question directly to he was, brother, how can you not let us be out there? And he goes, I didn't know. Like we're supposed to be in here, and so and hey, I'll pull the curtain all the way back right here. So day 2 WrestleMania, I'm on the floor, like I'm right there. I'm as if you're standing on home plate, the ring is at second base, right? And I'm right there, and if I want to rush up to the press box before the main event, I can, and they'll take me into the press conference, but I don't want to miss the main event. Like when I go to talk about it right now, or at least when we get back from the break, what I'm going to communicate is the vibes. What I'm going to communicate is the energy, and I'm going to tell you that it was whatever it was, 40 whatever degrees it was outside, but you didn't feel it. You know what I mean? Because you felt like the intensity and you felt the moment, and it was so wild to be a part of that crowd. I think 72,000 is what they said it was each day.
Yeah.
So, it's whatever that ends up being, 140 and some change. But to be a part of the end, of Cody, quote unquote, finishing the story, even though obviously it'll continue on from here. But yeah, it was wild. It was not worth missing to hit that press conference. It would it have been cool to be in the press conference of Cody Rhodes, and would it have been cool to have him tell the story about the Rolex, and would it have been cool? Like all those things would have been really cool and important and special. But I got to be there, and being there to me, I think was worth the trade. And that's part of the business aspect, where it's sometimes you gotta sacrifice it a little bit. And I won't miss the SummerSlam one, I won't miss the Survivor Series one, I won't miss the Royal Rumble one. But that story had become so important to me, over the course of years that I couldn't walk away from it at the end to catch the presser. So I didn't make the press conference at WrestleMania. I only made the live event, which is, kind of whoa me, but there it was.
Well, like let's be real. We're officially in a new era, man.
Yeah.
And they're doing a better job in trying to help control the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very selective. That's the best way of putting that, I guess.
Well, calculated, right? It's calculated.
Yeah. Yes. So, I'd say like the best moment from both nights on the press was what happened with Roman Reigns, like when the lady got kicked out.
Oh, I tell you what, and a lot of people. I think I immediately saw the internet say plant. I'm going to promise you it wasn't a plant. I'm going to promise you that, like, some of these media members are about as welcome as you think they would be. And they get asked to go. They better. And Roman Reigns, which is, that's the last press conference you're going to see him at as the champion. Like after that, the story has to change for Roman Reigns. It's a different approach. It's a different availability. I'm presuming it's time off. I'm presuming that a little bit. We didn't watch SmackDown tonight. So at the time.
Well, I got something for you, actually.
Oh, you did watch. Okay. I haven't watched.
I love it.
So
they are changing direction right now. And
there would be.
And it's a beauty. There was a debut tonight. It wasn't our boy.
Oh, okay.
But it was.
Well, no spoilers. This airs freshly on Saturday morning, so we don't want to ruin for anyone who hasn't. But I mean, I think we're going to get a lot of that kind of stuff moving forward. And the draft is coming up. The WWE draft is going to be a lot of fun to kind of see how the new storylines that come out of that and the way they're told by WWE. Also, AEW's done a really good job of presenting a lot of smoke. And that's gonna be a lot of fun because when both companies are doing really well, pro wrestling's doing really well, and because of that, things that you and I are invested in, Duke City Championship Wrestling, those things end up finding success too because fandom has grown so wildly and so rapidly. But really good professional weekend for me in Philadelphia. Had a lot of fun. Very much enjoyed the festivity that was WrestleMania. Well, we got to break it down, right? Like we got to dive into it.
Yeah, we do.
And then this will be the most just blender of a dive into it. And then we'll spend the final segment of the program today talking about our aspirations, our hopes, and taking a look at the direction of WWE and where
Yeah,
we think it's going to be and what has been coined the Triple H era, which is kind of wild.
it's
That's a
insane.
crazy concept. Yeah, he's going to end up as the most influential performer to ever perform and produce and promote. And um, whenever you and I look back on this thing 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, it will be hard for us when talking about a Mount Rushmore to not
Yeah.
have, well, heck, maybe not even have Triple H above it and then Mount Rushmore starting underneath, because it seems to have become that kind of thing at this point.
We are in this beautiful, weird, new, crazy, beautiful, weird thing in professional wrestling. And you thinking that far ahead is a beautiful thing because it's a thing that keeps going.
Yeah, it's a thing
And
that keeps going. We recap WrestleMania weekend whenever we get back from the break, and then, like I said, the preview of what we hope will come after that. You're listening to Going Over on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over. I, of course, am Fred Slow alongside me, Saleh Taylor, and we are, we're doing it. We're recapping WrestleMania 40. It was a big win. A lot of highlights from the weekend. Before we go through it directly, anything that jumped out to you, Saleh, aside from the main event? Don't sell out here. Aside from the main event, is there anything that was a fun, unexpected treat from the WrestleMania weekend?
the Philly street fight was a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, good call.
You didn't Snoop Dogg on commentary just
I
made
didn't
it
see
even
it.
better.
Yeah,
And it was like a legit a person just having a good time. And that's what made it even better. And also the match just looked great. The match just looked great. You know.
love that.
How
Yeah,
about you, how about you being live? You know, night one and night two.
there were a couple things. So I really enjoyed the ladder match, the tag team one. I thought it was such a fun way to give a little love to R-Truth, who had never won at WrestleMania. So I thought that was excellent. I don't know another way to say that. So I thought that was awesome. Also, we called on this program Waller and Theory winning the tag team titles.
Yep.
Them splitting it, I thought was incredibly good. So I would say that tag team match really jumped off the rails for me. Friend of the show, Joel, says, unpopular opinion, what we saw was Vince's opus of all the wrestlers Vince had crammed down our throats for a year, and all of Triple H's acolytes underperformed. So that's an interesting one. And that's using like the Miz and R-Truth for an example. Like those guys were tremendous. You just mentioned Bobby Lashley, tremendous. The very end of the night, The Undertaker, John Cena, these guys,
Yeah.
The Rock, these guys coming out. There's a lot of truth to that because guys that real well, I think a lot of people say the worst match of the weekend could have been the Usos, my man. It did not go over the way that I believe they at least hoped it would.
It's kind of that one was we were left a bit wanting on that. And it was night one. You were there. It was cold. That had that had to been like a massive variable that everyone was dealing with. And from the get, you can tell like either they were forgetting spots or they just like the weather hit them because you guys were also dealing with like wind as well, right? Like wind chill. So like that was you can say a bit sobering. But they did I think do a little bit of redemption the next night, but unfortunately, yeah, I see that from both nights. That was the weakest. That was a match I left with the most wanting, and hopefully gives them a chance to dig into the arsenal and and expand, become better, and you know reinvest into the storytelling abilities. What makes it even crazier is that they've been practicing, rehearsing this match since they were like 5, 7.
Right.
you know. So they got a taste of it, they got a feel of it. When they come back, it's gonna be better, and it will.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that, and I'm assuming the direction of the bloodline is going to be Solo Sokoa is going to become, kind of the face of it. Are they going to use the word tribal chief? I doubt it. I doubt they're going to do that. But I'm going to say that he's going to be that thing until Roman Reigns does return. Now, does he take off some time and end up returning SummerSlam? That'd be cool. Does he take off even more time and end up returning at Survivor Series and do using like Jacob Fatu as an example, doing like a
Civil War.
yeah, right, like a family feud, something of that nature of the bloodline. I think that would be as interesting as possible, and then the way it's kind of developing, the Rock's kid wrestles, there's a lot of direction you could just go with this thing.
Yeah.
So if they did follow that path, I'd be excited to follow it with them. But I don't think Joel is so wrong in a lot of ways because the guys that maybe got the opportunity under Triple H, they weren't expecting to have that opportunity back in January when all that weird stuff came out. Where it's
Yeah.
You got to build it up, you got to do that thing. Let's run through it. So, Women's World Championship match. Rhea Ripley defeated Becky Lynch. I'm not a guy who does stars, but I'm going to tell you this was good. The two can go at it. You expected Becky Lynch to lose. I don't think anyone in their right mind thought Rhea Ripley was going to catch the L here. You imagine Becky Lynch is going to be gone for a while at this point.
Well, they did just announce that Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are taking some time away from
are they?
WWE. They just announced that.
Okay.
You being there live, you weren't hearing what was going on while on the cans.
Right.
They did announce that Becky Lynch that was her fever game. She ran high.
Yeah.
She had the flu. She was running a bad fever, and she was just sick. And powered through and gave a great performance, both of them. Also hearing about Rhea Ripley having a panic attack before she walked out. So like both of them feeling the gravity of the moment, feeling the gravity, because I believe they opened the show, right? They
did open the show,
that,
yeah. And
that
we're
is
gonna go
crazy.
It's crazy to open with. Crazy to open with a championship match, especially with some of the other matches that were on the card. So they opened, they did well. It was a good start to WrestleMania on a cold night. But cool, maybe she's going to do a book tour or whatever you were just describing, but she will definitely be gone for some time. The six-pack ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship.
Great match.
Did we just miss it in the build-up that they were going to be able to split the titles? Did we miss that up until WrestleMania?
It was implied, but they never made it. They never pointed, because that's a you can't foreshadow that without giving it away.
Good point. Okay, I like that. So A-Town down. They win SmackDown. Awesome Truth wins Raw. Yes, this 100% makes sense. DIY, although I know there's people who love pro wrestling that think those guys are the truth. The crowd doesn't get them that way. New Day, it's nice that they can continue their run of losing at WrestleMania. And New Catch Republic too soon. These guys might be a WrestleMania 41 story, but WrestleMania 41, they were fortunate to be on. And the Judgment Day losing, I don't think it'll ever be referenced. I don't think they'll ever try to get them back. I don't think it'll be part of their story.
Well, I knew that walking in. We both knew that walking in, that Damian Priest was like, he's building to something bigger. They gotta, and also Finn's got to get some more time away from tag team, because they got to start repackaging him as a singles. So, they carried that division really well, and they're making room for more. And that's what's been going on, at least in the last few months. We've been noticing that, like, all right, we got to make room and open it up for more folk.
The Judgment Day came out on Raw, and R-Truth had a spot with him, which was very, very good. It's just so clever and funny, and there was a lot of shots fired at press conferences and Hall of Fame speeches, and during the broadcast at Vince McMahon. And if you went to social media over the weekend, R-Truth was the guy who was like, hey, remember who helped you get here? R-Truth was a guy who was not necessarily willing to do that. And maybe if you were to ask cynical Fred, hey, do you think there's an appeasement here with the title? Strong maybe, strong maybe. Um, I'm not going to say he doesn't deserve it. I'm not going to say the crowd doesn't love him because I love him, like as an
Yeah.
entertainer. But shoot, it just the timing seemed a little fitting, right?
Well, it's Truth has always been a stand-up guy, and he's always, he never forgets where he's come from, and he that was a gentle like, hey guys, like I know we know, but like guys, I think also he was going through some heavy stuff personally. I think one of his cousins um ended up in the hospital, who was like one of the people that was helping support him while he was getting started too. So he was like more in a, you could say, I could see that he was being more reflective
Yeah.
and a bit, just trying to be more stand up about it.
I'm
I can see
trying to
that.
find the name of the cat, and I feel bad because I should know it. It's not one of the dudes that's in LWO, but it was one of the guys that was ringside. But that little slingshot off the second
Yeah,
rope, I can't come up with the cat's name, and I feel so bad as I'm kind of looking for it. But Mysterio and Andrade defeated Dominic Mysterio and Santos
yeah.
Escobar. But the highlight was none of them. It was that super sick slingshot off the middle rope to the floor, and I can't even find the dude's name.
That was workshopped in one of the NXT shows. They did that there. And then I'm glad to see it being done on the
Oh, cool.
card, on the main show. But yeah, he killed that. Shoot, he was. I think he's the only non-Latino,
Yeah, like
the non-Latino.
at us and on social media and tell us how dumb we are for not knowing. We talked about the Usos. I think it's the lowest rated match
Yeah,
of the weekend. I think, and it was barely only beat out by the Cargill, Belair, Naomi versus Damage Control. I mean, there was a lull in WrestleMania Night 1 between the Usos and the ladies
yeah.
that it was hard for the crowd in attendance, and I would assume the crowd at home to come back to. But Sami Zayn was able to bring him back over Gunther, as close to a perfect match as I think you can build.
We both we got that one wrong. When you talk about the ladies match, we knew that they just try to present Jade on the big stage. They still have to protect her. That's why triples. But good job moving on. But the Sami Zayn and the Gunther, that was a great emotional match. Um, what was crazy was Gunther had the title for 666 days. They kept reminding us, and
Yeah,
and the reason why and like the more they were reminding us, I realized, oh, he's gonna lose him. He's gonna lose the title. That's too
yeah.
cool a number for someone else to try and beat out. Like it's just like like all right, I
Yeah,
can see that.
when you can cite it forever, and
Yeah,
Gunther, I assume, came out on SmackDown. I assume he did. I don't know that for a fact. But yeah, start moving him towards Cody
yeah,
Rhodes. Start moving him towards
the big yeah.
yeah.
He's ready. He's ready for the next one.
Yeah, I agree with that. Night 1 main event: The Rock and Roman Reigns defeat Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. They did, right? I mean, and
Yeah.
the storytelling was good, and it's what we expected. The impact on Sunday night was pretty substantial. It made for that match to be that good. Rhodes looked really good. Reigns looked really good. Seth Rollins looked like he was doing everything within his power, but at least from being live in attendance, he didn't seem like the feature on night 1. But I guess in that group of 4, he is number 4.
Well, he knew it, and that match was a setup for the night 2.
Yeah,
And like the consequences of everything that happened night 1, that was felt, and just like how you said, the um they we knew that they had to set up Seth for his match with Drew, and more importantly, um he had to have, well, he just knew that he was the one that people didn't really care about, between the 4. I love I like the pacing of it because they took their time. They didn't rush it, and they really wanted the people to like sit through this and like this isn't a match, this is a beating
Yeah.
type of thing. This is like a fight. This is a fight kind of feel. So I really enjoyed that. This is a different kind of pacing that you could tell that The Rock being in his age and his training and his limited move set that he can't do. Like they did a great job on protecting The Rock.
Well, and
You
then
know,
he got the 1, 2, 3 with the people's elbow, and how many
yeah.
years has it been since we've seen that? And for those in attendance, that's wild. That's excellent. Friend of the show, Joel, asked a fun question before we go to break and come back and wrap up the program. Why is Rousey going full bitter wrestler with her shoots lately? This is in reference to an interview she did like on Fox News or something stupid, but it was, and she said a guy, I can't even remember his name, made reference to my sweatpants. She was apparently talking about Drew Gulak.
Apparently, he tried to go out, reach for a handshake, and he brushed. How he says he brushed the front of her sweats or
I
the
don't know.
string of her sweats, something like that. Yeah, yeah. There's
Um,
there's that.
there's
But she's not completely bitter. She had nothing but beautiful things to say about our guy Paul Levick.
yeah.
She had
Well,
beautiful things to say about him, and Stephanie too. Actually,
we got a minute to where we can, so let's continue on into night 2 before we come back and talk about the future. This was kind of interesting to me, and we would have to look up the stats. I don't know what they are. So Rollins finishes out the night of night 1, and then he starts the night for night 2. So this is back-to-back WrestleMania matches. Drew McIntyre puts it on him. It
yeah.
was, Drew McIntyre was made to look like a real bad dude, and he was a real bad dude. The highlights I've heard from everyone is that it wasn't the match itself that was the highlight. It was CM Punk on commentary. I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
With that said, it was everything post-match that was so very perfect, including, and this is just my one little critique, including Damian Priest coming out, cashing Money in the Bank. And a thing I saw, which I don't know if it translated to TV, but the referee didn't do I'm super confused on what's going on. I don't understand the moment. You mean what? What am I supposed to do with this thing? I really enjoyed the pace of it where they said, here's the thing I'm cashing in. The referee said, let's go. And then they were underway to end it with Damian Priest. So, and I don't know if that's even a real analysis, but I was very appreciative that it wasn't the hoo-ha game that cashing in Money in the Bank has traditionally been.
They did a great job with that. It read well on camera from
Good.
watching it at home. But like, yeah, the pacing of that was I'd say near perfect. Of the whole, here it is. I'm here. I just ran 100 feet from Gorilla. Don't play stupid. So they're doing a good job on like trying to wisen up people, and like not completely play to
Yeah.
marks.
Well, and to the as far as you want to rate the match, can't do it. It's not a rateable match. But I would do this. I will put that cash in near the top of cash ins that I've ever seen. I'll put it up there with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 30 or not 31, whichever one was in San Francisco. But I will put him just as high as that. I thought it was as good and as clever and done as well as any cash in of Money in the Bank that I've seen.
I would second that and also add the Dolph Ziggler cash in because that one is still one of my favorite cash ins.
Oh, good call. Yeah, good call.
No, but yeah, great. No, it read well. And this is one of those things that we just forget that they're supposed to be heels, but the human behind it. We all remember his journey and how he talked about it in his presser. 10 years ago he was homeless, living in his car, and
Right.
look at him now. Like one of the coolest things to see his journey, even like old pictures of where he was, where he started. Like he was twice the man he was.
Yeah.
He is now.
And the Damian Priest stuff is like, it's reminiscent of like a Scott Hall, where he was like, I was a bouncer, I was I was living this
I like
not
that.
necessarily altruistic life, and it was, it's I survived off my machismo and all this stuff, it's awesome,
Mhm.
it's incredibly awesome, and he's gonna have to fight Finn Balor. That's what's gonna end up happening.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's gonna be very good. Those two guys are gonna be very good. And then the storyline of what happens to the kids, talking about Dominic Mysterio and What's
J,
JD,
JD.
who I love. Like I love JD. Like and they're just gonna be like, stop fighting, we love you, or it's gonna be smart. It's gonna be really clever. We continue down the card. We talked a little bit about the Philadelphia street fight. I don't know how to rank it because it was so weird with Bully Ray being there, Bubba Ray, Bully Ray.
Yeah.
Good. We didn't think the Final Testament had a shot no matter
It was
what.
fun. It was
Yeah,
fun.
they made it fun. It was fun.
It's a fun match.
It was fun.
Yeah, it hit me in the nostalgic feels. When he put the glasses on, like that we had no expectations for that match. Actually, we had less than no expectations for
That is
that
correct.
match.
Yeah.
And so I was just pleasantly surprised, and I enjoyed it through and through. And yeah, great match, great times, and that's a good one to watch to watch on the replay.
The 70-something thousand people in attendance, when it's get the tables, it's very good. You know what I mean? It was very good. Also, this is a fun note from friend of the show, Craig. He says, "Don't Damian Priest and Razor Ramon both do the Razor's Edge?" They do. So that's a good little tie in there. Good eye.
It's a really, really good time. Yeah.
The next match of the night, and we're going to go a little long in this segment, so we'll shorten up the next one. The next match of the night was the one for the internet. It's the guy that TNA made. It's the guy that TNA created, the guy that TNA made famous in AJ Styles. Then the guy that NWA and a little bit TNA, the guy that NWA made really famous in LA Knight. And it was these two promotions that now have what I would argue are LA Knight, no, not an NWA. That's probably Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, or whatever. But the two that are currently in the game, the two biggest names being able to go at each other and really battle it out. And LA Knight comes out on top. And it was nothing, in my opinion, more than to get the big pop from the crowd, because the crowd, you want to have that on camera. You want to have that captured forever. I'd be into an Anderson Gallows kind of storyline with AJ Styles. I would be into something of that nature, because I think Anderson and Gallows are both really good and really underutilized. But good for LA Knight. I don't necessarily think those two competitors will ever have to lock up again, though.
Oh no, I think they're laying down groundwork for a rematch.
Okay.
Right now, it was I think they're doing the three, the three for between the two of them. I wouldn't mind seeing them go again.
Yeah.
I know that AJ Styles did say, though, recently it was released in a statement talking about how he knows that the end of his career is near.
Duh.
So he's asked, he's like, you know what, I want at least one more good rivalry. I want one more good storyline. And because he's talking about like my age, it's getting to the point where I'm embarrassingly not able to pull off some of the easier stuff. So I got to be smart about it, and I want to go out on my own terms.
I mean, he's
kissing. Can.
Yeah, he's on the shorter side of 40 when it comes to 50. I think he's 46, and I mean that's not young blood. I mean there's not so many years left in you at that point. Moving on, because we got to wrap this one up. The triple threat match for the United States Championship: Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. There's no way I thought Paul was going to lose in the ring that's named after his sports drink. He's wild good. I know he gets a ton of time to work on these matches, but I have to believe that every other pro wrestler in WWE is a fan of his, because Randy Orton and Kevin Owens gave this thing all the effort. Super good match. Zero surprise that Logan Paul defeats Randy Orton.
I really enjoyed it. I was hoping that Kevin Owens was going to get another belt shot, get another belt run, but I keep forgetting that Kevin Owens actually made for a main event too. Yeah, Randy Orton is just collecting he's just doing all the side missions right now. He's just having fun. He has a lighter schedule if he wants it, but he's working with the guys that he wants to work with. He's giving them a good rub, and Logan Paul is surely on his way of becoming just one of the more notable guys. They're continuing to build his legacy, so I'm really excited to see that.
You and I in the opening segment talked a little bit about Bailey and Io Sky. I actually stepped away and missed it. I was hanging out with CJ Perry, who used to go as Lana. She's wild, nice, but she was in the building. There was a bunch of AEW guys in the building. So I literally missed the whole match. I was on the concourse talking to her. So oops, my bad. Good for Bailey getting her chip though.
I know that this is probably one of her last runs for this. I'm excited to see Bailey just like on top of again, just having fun. She's a great champ. She's great, great on the mic. She's really fun to watch. It was a great match. Madam Sky. I can't wait to see what more she's going to bring out. But it was a great match, great times. But everyone
Good
knew
moment.
what was coming
Yeah,
coming for next.
good moment for her. The final wrap is the main event that we talked about to start the program. If I am a guy that hands out stars, I would give 5 to this one. Cody Rhodes defeats Roman Reigns to win the title. I will need to go back, I guess, and watch it so I can hear the commentary from Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, and I guess Corey Graves was there too. But I need to, I need to soak that in because in person, it felt that fast, and I don't know if it was that fast, but it felt it felt like a blink of the eye because it was all done so very well.
I in a big match like that, I'm looking forward to the last 10 minutes. But they did a great job of just building everything. Like they had just a great wrestling match, pro wrestling match. One of the coolest things to take away from this, um, Pat McAfee and Corey Graves backed off a little bit on the commentary,
Okay.
and Michael Cole pretty much called the last 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh, wild.
Called it well, and one of the last things you hear from Michael Cole is him saying, and this is one of the coolest things to hear nowadays for as a fan from someone in the business. You hear Michael Cole on the cans calling out, "I love professional wrestling." He called it professional wrestling.
Oh, love that.
You know,
Yeah, well, and
uh,
that's going to be part of what we're going to lean into is a little bit of the change of culture in the Triple H era. My standout, obviously, I think from the end of the night, the main event of night 2, was Roman Reigns having a moment to decide with
ooh,
the weapon, the chair in hand. Is it Cody Rhodes, the come lately, the last year of his life, like the goat head in his, in the sole of
yeah,
his shoe, or is it his 10-year rivalry with Seth Rollins, and he has an opportunity because Seth Rollins is, dressed as the Shield, and there's all those
yeah.
memories associated with it, and he then, the storytelling is, and I don't know how Michael Cole's putting it over, but there in person, you have a moment where he's going to hit Seth Rollins, like he needs to retain his title, he needs to beat up Cody Rhodes, but he can't because that title is not as important as the vengeance that he never got on Seth Rollins so many years ago. And then the sell from Seth Rollins is the exact
Oh,
same sell that Roman Reigns does in 2015. Just wild, brother. Like I could not have been more into it. Spot of the year right now for me. Cody Rhodes victorious on 3 in a row. I mean, it was a cool night. Also, Charles Robinson, let's go. Like Charles Robinson is called the
we
biggest
love
match
you.
of all time. So there it is. Let's do this, Solly. Let's step away so we can come back. When we do come back, it'll be a quick one, but it'll be an important one as we talk about the direction of the world wrestling entertainment and some of those things that you hinted at as we recapped WrestleMania weekend. It's going over right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over. I, of course, am Fred Slow alongside me, Solly Taylor. We're talking about WrestleMania. We just recapped this past weekend, and now we're going to give, just a handful of minutes here, our predictions on what we think the upcoming future of professional wrestling is in the WWE. As it's obvious, Triple H is taking the reins. The wrestlers are talking about it publicly. You mentioned that's being talked about on the broadcast. It felt like from Michael Cole. Do you feel like it's going from sports entertainment to pro wrestling?
They are going back to pro wrestling. I did I misspoke last week on our last show when I was talking about this is the first WrestleMania without a McMahon. Stephanie was there, and they did just announce she is taking a managerial position in the company.
Oh, is she?
Stephanie's back.
Okay. Well,
So
that's an interesting one because like TKO just bought back a bunch of stock from Vince McMahon. That thing is over, and it looks as if WWE is taking some advice from people that really know how to do it, which is TKO on how to get stuff out in different ways to quote unquote grassroots, which when people are this popular, you know, it doesn't work like that. But share messages and allow individuals to have theater of the mind as it relates to the product. So yeah, I think it's been kind of wild, Saleh, what WWE is going to claim they're going to change. And I think the draft is a big part of it. And the next year might be a ton of innovation. Also, I feel like we might have to learn a lot of new pro wrestlers.
They are opening the door, and speaking of which, like they've opened that door for SmackDown this last show. They're pulling the trigger on a lot of cool things that I never thought I would ever see here, and they're laying down groundwork. I am grateful that they were able to do a callback to something that started at least 10 years ago in the same company, and also, one of the coolest things, Michael Cole, when there's a production little snafu, it's live television, it happens. But Michael Cole called it out on the cans, and he laughed about it, and they moved on. And no one's really thought of it ever since.
You're talking about the table not getting set up at WrestleMania for get the tables. I don't know if that was a call, but
No, not just that. Well, yeah, they laughed at that. They had fun with it, but they did put it over, you know. But no, there was a during the six team, someone was coming out. The music changed, but the video package was different. On the
we
bottom.
saw that. Yeah,
You know, he called it out, and he's like, "All right, I guess you know they didn't send in the video," and he just laughed about it and moved on. Like that was really cool. Even more so, the freedom that they're allowing Pat McAfee. He seems to be reinvigorating some kind of passion for Michael Cole because right now Michael Cole is calling everything with his heart and soul, and it's a beautiful thing. The it feels reinvigorated. It feels cool. It's a beautiful thing. I'm excited to see what's to come for
well, I don't
professional
think
wrestling.
it's not far fetched, and I think The Rock said it a bunch of times. Who, by the way, said he's stepping away on Monday. Don't expect to see him for some time, but it's cool again. You know, pro wrestling is cool again, and
Well said.
yeah, and how fortunate we are to number one have this kind of medium to talk about it. Duke City Championship Wrestling obviously is a big part of pro wrestling. You can catch our next live show. That's April the 24th. It's a Wednesday. We're doing a fun Wednesday record. I don't know words. I don't know why I said it like that. DCCWtickets.com. You can get tickets to the event. Keep in mind, I am in the ownership group of that. So if you purchase a ticket to Duke City Championship Wrestling, you're sliding money into Daddy's pocket. So thank you for supporting that. And then our big 1 year anniversary show is in May. So how crazy, how wild this whole thing is a whole thing at this point. So Saleh, we're at the end of it. Anything we missed, brother?
I love our people, man. I love our fans. I love everyone we work with. I am grateful for y'all, and thank you for you, man. I'm glad you made it back safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for making the late night recording session for the early morning show tomorrow. For Saleh Taylor, for myself, Fred Slow, everyone who was part of the live chat, thank you so very much. Good job, everyone. GG.